Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. It's Friday, so it's my PowerPoint presentation day. It's called Are You the One Who Is to Come, or Should We Look for Another? We're starting off here with the four aims of life according to the Indian tradition, Purusharthas, enjoy yourself, Artha, acquire what you need so you're not a parasite in society, but put it all on the bridle of Dharma. Study and understand the cosmic law, the overarching harmony, and align yourself with that, because all of these aims of life lead you towards moksha, or freedom that comes from discovering the essence of self. The teaching can hit you in a moment. They call it relampago. Ooh, the lightning flash that knocks you off your ass. And also, you get an epiphany, right? A feeling of light, or hierophany, a feeling of the manifestation of the divine, or kratophany, a manifestation of the power. Whatever it is, there's many ways that it can happen to you. And of course, if you're a yogi, you're certainly a worshiper of Shiva, the Lord of Yoga, and you see all the different symbols in the poster. He is the elemental symbol of Ganges flowing into his head. He has the sexual symbol of the Shivalingam. He has the animal symbol of Nandi the bull. He has the vegetal symbol of the Amrit in the pot in front of him. He has the celestial symbol of the crescent moon. And he has the trident symbol uh, of his geometry and his understanding and rulership over the three worlds, this world, the underworld, and the overworld. He has the snake that symbolizes the cyclical nature of time and so forth. So there's a lot of projections we put upon Shiva, but it represents the essence self that's lost in deep meditation all the time. Now, when I talk about dancing the four quarters, I always say you got to look at the shadow aspect of it. The shadow aspect of the inner ruler is what I call the dictator or the abdicator. There's always a positive and negative side of it. The shadow side of the warrior is either the persecutor or the victim, right? The masochist and the sadist. Mm-hmm. The shadow side of the magician or the yana yogi is the know-it-all or the cheater. And then the shadow side of the lover is the addicted one or the impotent one. So it's interesting to understand these different shadow archetypes, because the inner king or queen, the inner ruler, is about inclusive caring. The inner lover is about joy. The inner magician is about detachment. And the inner warrior is about boundaries and controlling your behavior with disciplined, effective, skillful action. All right, then we understand the stages of life as Erik Erikson put them out, but each stage has different psychological tasks to integrate: trust versus mistrust, autonomy versus shame and doubt, initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority, identity versus role confusion, intimacy versus isolation, generativity versus stagnation, and then ultimately ego integrity versus despair. And psychologically, you can be stunted in any of these areas, but biologically, your body unfolds anyway. So it's really interesting to look at this and see at what stage of your own life pattern did any of these things get cooked in the squat and didn't have a chance to rise, or you developed the tasks that were necessary to develop those or cultivate those skills, and then you take them on as you mature. All right. Um, we understand that we live in a world that for many people, they feel rootless, not connected to their culture, powerless. They don't feel that they can make a difference in things. Jobless. They realize that they're not happy in the way they're working. Ruthless. The world is out, cutthroat, dog eat dog world. The future doesn't seem to hold any promise, and then they feel like everything is meaningless. But to emphasize the unity of what we're all going through, and to stay alive with your eyes open. So we say, when death finds you, may it find you alive. You still got to do it. Like in the Jewish tradition, they said, you may not be able to fulfill or complete the task, but you still have to do your part. The password now is lost to that initiation full and free. Daily we pay the cost of our slow schooling for divine degree. We know no means to feed an undying lamp. Our lights go out in every wind or damp. So we have lost the ability to transmit to each new generation the underlying spirituality that unites all humanity. And that's why we so easily get strayed or go stray and get distracted. So Unfortunately, the modern mind doesn't think there's a center. The modern mind doesn't take the shadow seriously. There's no initiation for so many people that we're left to mature on our own, which is a mistake. And if the bankruptcy of our current vision isn't obvious, you have to ask yourself, is this the best we're capable of? Just remember, nothing is fixed about our current state. So then you have to have ritual initiation. All right, let's see your downward dog. The Skull Smashers gang were known for their cruel and inhuman ritual initiations, right? So a lot of what I think is that we have inadequate ritual initiation response, whether it's interpersonal, intrapersonal, intertribal, intratribal. So conflict resolution is so important for the bonding of our species. I'm not going to go into this. So most important thing is what is regression for? Going back. There's no shame in healing your wounds by telling your story, but it needs to be done in a contained space. Otherwise, you end up getting depressed, passive, addicted, suicidal. Find a group, open up, and then eat your ashes responsibly, we say. Mm-hmm. Don't sacrifice yourself for a bogus vision. They said in the Scandinavian or Nordic traditions there that when the young boy would be coming of age, he'd be so listless he doesn't know what to do with his energy. They'd let him stay by the fire, let him roll in the ashes. Instead of it being Cinderella, he's Askeladdin, Ash Boy. You understand how you have to go through all the broken dreams, the things that didn't happen in your life, and yet find a way to, like a phoenix, rise out from the ashes of that into something beautiful, regenerative, holy, infinite. And that's why, in the end, you have to realize we all have potential radically beyond any abuse experience, right? We're not hurt everywhere. We have to empower people's feelings of significance. But remember, look at that face. People don't relate well to scolding. You can't use your anger to get people to change. Rarely. You have to bring them through pleasure and joy. So that's why, in the end, interrupt your own pattern, give strokes to other people, tell them what's beautiful about themselves. Stroke is like food for your psyche. And then we have to ask you, if not you, who? If not now, when? So that's why we say, are you the one who is to come, or should we look for another? Well, I'm not going to look for another. I'm going to assume that you are the one who is to come, just like each one of us is. Have a great weekend. See you next week. Don't forget, next Wednesday is the next Good Vibrations class called The Possible Human. Go to GabrielHalpern.com and sign up.